793 AD, a group of envoys from the remote southwestern vassal states came to the Daming palace of the Tang Dynasty. Among the envoys, one attracted particular attention. They were from a vassal state called the Eastern Women Kingdom, a kingdom ruled solely by women. This is an account taken from the Old Book of Tang, considered an historical account of what happened during the Tang Dynasty. According to the book, the territory of the Kingdom of Women was a narrow strip found in the upper reaches of the Dadu River, with Dunhuang serving as its center. Does such speculation hold water, though? And can we find traces of the kingdom today?
我们知道，人类社会它都是从母系社会进入到父系社会这样子过来的。那么在青藏高原，这个证明了东女国就证明了，在青藏高原曾经在历史上有一个很长时期的话是女性为中心的这么一个社会。
In this book, the Kingdom of Women was described to have over 80 towns under its jurisdiction, with more than 40,000 citizens and some 10,000 soldiers. However, the current scale of villages in the vicinity of Dunhuang showed little of its past grandeur.
在这么一个范围中间，分布了80多个部落、80多个寨子、聚落点，这是东女国的形象。所谓国，那不过就是一个部落联盟。 在当时，所谓国就是个部落联盟，并不是一个像我们后来想象的这种王朝性的这种国。
It is most likely that the Kingdom of Women was an alliance consisting of 80 tribes in the mountains, the most prominent and respected woman elected as its head. If this is true, where is the tribe? This remains an unsolved puzzle. A legend about Mount Suopo has attracted attention over the years. It is said that the ruins of the Queen's residence is hidden deep in the jungles there.
现在要去的这个是东女国都城的那个地方，都城就在这个山上。
The path to the ruins is known only by a couple of senior villagers from Longzhong village. Therefore, very few have visited this place before. What kind of secret shall be unveiled at the end of this path? What are we going to find there? After a 4-hour trek, the ruins of what look like watchtowers is finally standing before us. These crumbled walls, dilapidated yet majestic ancient towers, make us feel as if we are visiting a World Heritage Site, such as Angkor Wat. The air is filled with the solemnness of history. The ruins cover a large area. The walls and gate of the ancient castle are still somewhat recognizable. Each place has a Gayarong Tibetan name. Chinese translation of these names sounds awesome, indicating that this might be where the Queen's palace was. Where are the names from?
这个名称是老人们传下来，一代传一代，就不知道究竟是传了好多个年代。
This photo was taken near the cliff behind the ruins. On the cliff, a female face is dimly visible. The pattern convinced the villagers that this place was the capital of the Kingdom of Women. Sitting on the cliff, some 3,000 meters above sea level, the castle is perched above its surroundings, which is easily defended from such a location. This is a page of history that has been forgotten by people. Nobody has conducted any carbon dating or architectural identification. Therefore, it has remained unknown to us, keeping answers to the mystery of the Kingdom of Women at a distance. Age-old bow and sword dance, handed down in Dunbar County, tells the story of 13 warriors protecting the gods. From it, we can feel the strength and courage of the brave Kambar men of ancient times. What kind of qualities did the female rulers of such a kingdom have to govern the tribes and subject such brave men to their rule? Was it extraordinarily good looks, unparalleled wisdom, or...
这些部落中间，他们古代都信仰这个，一种原始宗教，原始本教。原始本教他们都是尊崇女性的，都是尊重女性，把女神作为最高的神。
Dunbar County is located in the western Sichuan Canyon between the Wudang Mountains. The Daldu River, which flows through the area, is regarded as the River of the Queen by the local Gayarong Tibetans. The sacred Mosuo mountain, worshipped by the locals, is also known as the Mountain of the Goddess. All this evidence points to a tradition of female worship in this area since ancient times. Relics unearthed in 1987 show a notable common characteristic. Funerary goods for men are mainly weapons, while those for women are jewellery and agricultural production tools. Such division of labour conjures up a clearer vision of that distant age. About 10,000 years ago, matriarchal society was at its high watermark with the advent of the Neolithic age. At that time, women were dominant in agricultural, animal husbandry, pottery and textiles, which were much better sources of food and clothing than that of hunting and collecting. In addition, women were responsible for cooking, chores and raising the children. In contrast, men were engaged in fishing and hunting, which contributed far less to the family and tribe. Therefore, women took a dominant role in social, economic life, constituting a basis for female worship. The unearthed items found in the sarcophaguses show that the tribes living here during that time had some characteristics of a matriarchal society.
女性作为一个最高的信仰，这为什么就说这个女国能够这个统治在这个能够强悍的这个藏族人能够受这个女性的这个统治而女王能够建这这么一个原因。
Records about the Kingdom of Women are mainly found in the history of the Sui and Tang dynasties. At that time, however, China had already entered an era of male dominance. So how was it that this particular area remained distinct and intact from that of the world around it? How did they pass down the worship of females, also remain uninfluenced by other cultures?
这个高山峡谷地带，这些地带便于文化保护和长期的生存 而不受到其他强势文化的侵扰。
According to historical records, as a vassal state of the Tang, the Kingdom of Women had been in continuous contact with the Tang hundreds of years. How could the Tang emperors accept such a matriarchal society flourishing in one of their vassal states right under their noses? In 618 AD, the Tang Dynasty was founded. Ruled by successions of aspiring and sagacious emperors, the Tang ascended to a pinnacle of prosperity during the Middle Ages and is regarded as one of the most powerful empires in history. This proud empire also boasted of its pluralism, inclusiveness, and broad-mindedness. In its capital city, Chang'an, lived businessmen, diplomats and scholars from Central Asia, Persia, Arabia and India. Exotic cultures arrived and flourished. Inclusiveness took time. In 690 AD, Wu Zetian, the only empress in Chinese history who seized the throne of the world's most powerful empire of the time. She not only continued the dynasty's glory, also enriched its level of inclusiveness by bringing about a social environment in which women thrived.
在这些地方能够保存下来，而不在于女性怎么样，不在于男性的弱、女性的强，不在于女性的优秀，而在于环境造成他们能够保存下来。
The most typical thing about the Kingdom of Women is its matrilineal social structure. The Queen Regnant holds the highest position. Under her, women held all key posts. In households, the female dominated every aspect of daily life too.
母系家族，那么，就是说家里边是没有父亲的，就是一个母系的他的直系后代。
Can we still find traces of such matriarchal families in Dunbar County? Liu Ying lives in a typical Gayarong Tibetan family in Bardi Township. Her grandfather, mother and father are in charge of everything in the family. Today, they are going to have a small family gathering. All the relatives in the village will come over in the evening. The seating plan at the family dinner shows the respective status of each member. Liu Ying's grandfather is sitting in the most prominent position, and her father, Liu Yingkang, sits at the end of the seat. It's clear that this is a male-dominated family. Such a family is representative of the region. If Dunbar County was once the center of the Kingdom of Women, why is the most typical matriarchal family structure hardly noticeable here? What led to such features of such an iconic society to be erased?
5条道路都可以汇聚到这个地方来的，所以它这个地区开放性慢慢就打开了。 打开了，经商的人来多了，军旅多了，官吏多了，中央王朝的人来的多了，那么他这种女性的这种存在就自然就比男性所来。
Can we still sense the past glory of the Kingdom of Women today? The Wudang Mountains, where the kingdom was allegedly ancient and mysterious land located in southwest China to the rest of the world. He was Joseph Rock. In his monograph, Rock described the land with emotional words. He said, "Yongning Lake is the most beautiful lake in Yunnan. I can't imagine a better place than here. This is the place where God dwells." Yongning Lake, in Rock's book, is today's Lugu Lake. Separating Yunnan and Sichuan provinces, the lake features not only stunning scenery, but also a unique local family relationship which puzzled the scholar. He found that in Yongning, men and women never marry, but form sexual unions. The offspring resulting from such unions are taken and raised by the women and their brothers. As a botanist, Rock may not have known that such family relations were a pillar of matriarchal society. This unique aspect of local social culture was reason why the Lugu Lake area was given the title Emperor Kingdom of Women.
实行这个母亲作为家庭最大的主宰的、最高主宰的这种情况，家庭里边还很清晰地看得到这种母系社会的这种痕迹，这种痕迹，我们把它称为叫做母系氏族社会的残余传承。
Lugu Lake, the mysterious place in Rock's description, still carries on the lifestyle of the legendary Kingdom of Women. Geographically, it is only several hundred kilometers away from Dunbar. Therefore, it might have been somewhere on the edge of the kingdom. Today, after more than 1,000 years, can we find any traces of that matriarchal kingdom around here? These oil paintings bring people into the simple and flawless world of Lugu Lake. The painter Wudang was born in a big Mosuo matrilineal family near Lugu Lake. Though living far away from home for most of his career as a painter, Wudang has an indelible memory of Lugu Lake. For him, it is truly the Kingdom of Women.
男的出去走婚，女的她永远都没出去，就待在家里面。所以家里面很多成员都是女性来组成的，她的孩子，然后她的孩子，她的母亲，她的祖母，这样一代甚至3、4代都女性组成了一个家庭。
Bowa's hometown of Lugu Lake is located between Sichuan and Yunnan provinces. serene and tranquil. It seems detached from the outside world, remaining the same as when Rock visited it some 80 years prior. August the 23rd, 2011, might be the busiest day of the year for the Mosuo people living by the lake. It will be their annual mountain worship festival tomorrow. All families are busy preparing for the day. This most serious of festivals falls on July the 25th of the lunar calendar, having been observed since ancient times. On that day, people worship Mount Gamo to pray for peace and prosperity in the coming year. The festival, also dubbed the Mosuo's Valentine's Day, offers a perfect opportunity for young people to know one another and potentially find mates. Drolma has been anticipating the day for a long time. She will probably find her Mr. Right during this time.
长相嘛还要宜俊一点，性格也不要太开朗，稳重一点就可以了。
Drolma's grandmother, Jani Ama, is the most respected person in the family. The 71-year-old woman is still the head of the family, deciding all affairs. Uncle Avakaso is the most august, yet most amiable elder in Drolma's heart. He is a mainstay of the family and presides over all family rituals. He also plays an important role in Drolma's life. Mom, Dashiram, is the closest person to her, taking care of her since she was born. Her mom is also in charge of managing the family's money under the instruction of her mother. As evening falls, the family are enjoying their happiest hours over dinner. Drolma's sisters, brothers and nieces, everyone except her father, gather in the grandmother's room, enjoying the cozy moment. Today's topic still focuses on Drolma's unknown lover from the mountain worship festival. Quite different from ordinary families, the absence of fathers is a clear characteristic of most Mosuo families.
因为他舅舅首先他代替是父亲的角色嘛，然后这样的话就，比如说这个母系大家庭的一个就出生了一个孩子，然后他就会，然后到了成年了以后会教他怎么做人。
Doji, now works as a tour guide and canoes the tourists in Lugu Lake. Dolmo is grateful to him for giving her life, although he is more dedicated to bringing up the offspring of his own birth family and spends little time with her. These deep-rooted family traditions and values are inherited from a matriarchal society. Therefore, the Mosuo way of life is called the living fossil of matriarchy.
在那么一个区域里面，存在一个非常不一样的这种社会形态，这包括婚姻家庭这种形态，这个确实是对于我们从历史上来反思不同文化之间的这个交融，应该是非常有意义的。
About 10,000 years ago, human society was mainly based on matriarchy. At that time, women enjoyed a high prestige in society, having central roles in both clan leadership and family life. Descent was traced through the mother's side of the family. Paired with men who were engaged in hunting and fishing, women provided more stable and important sustenance for life through their gathering and breeding. Their irreplaceable role in continuing the bloodline added to their high social status. The kingdom of women of the Sui and Tang dynasties also had a matriarchal social structure. According to historical records on the evolution of legal and institutional change during the Tang dynasty, even women of the humblest breed are heads of their families. The offspring are surnamed after their mothers. The existing matrilineal family structure in the Lugu Lake region provides for a reasonable assumption that the Kingdom of Women was located in China's southwestern borders.
这种文化现在还能够决议下来，它就是一个历史的文化活化石，它证明了一个中人类社会的这么一个从母系到父系这个发展的历程。
Motherhood has permeated every aspect of life of the Mosuo people. Drolma's home is a typical Mosuo-style courtyard, with each room representing something. When night falls, adult women will enter their respective bedrooms, waiting for their partners. Meanwhile, Drolma's uncles and elder brothers will set out to meet their loved ones too. Such a unique marriage custom to the Mosuo people is known as the visiting marriage.
男方到女家来，走婚，晚上过夜，白天又回到自己的母亲的家里边，是这样的。那么生的小孩，不管是男的女的，都属于这个女方家。
Drolma turns 21 this year, the requisite age for a visiting marriage. The shy girl hasn't found an ideal lover at previous mountain worship festivals. Can she succeed this time? Drolma's mum, Dashiram, is concerned about this. Every few days, Mum would tidy the boudoir prepared for Drolma. Everything is ready for the visiting marriage when it comes. It also reminds the mother of her younger days. Years ago, Ram was as young as Drolma is, but different from Drolma in that Ram's cheerful personality and stunning beauty made her the most outstanding girl in the village, with quite a few male suitors. Tashe Dorje was one of them. He was a quiet and modest young man fishing with his uncle in the lake. Although his family was not rich, Dorje also had a sunny smile. He believed the diligence would bring him good luck and prosperity to his family. Nima was also one of Ram's suitors. He was the best horseman and the most handsome boy in the village, with a chiseled face and a strong build, thanks perhaps to being in the company of hot-tempered horses all year round. Ram's heart. The answer was revealed 1 year later. To many people's surprise, Ram chose neither the handsome Nima nor the rich Dashe, but the diligent Tashe Dorje. For the Mosuo women, choosing lovers is a very rigorous and critical process.
秋波来往3年嘛，就是考察他一样的，就看这个男孩子他的那个品行怎么样，跟那个伙伴的相处怎么样，他孝敬老人怎么样，然后村庄里边有那个重大的事情的时候，他能不能出去帮忙。
On a summer day, when she turned 21, Ram had her first date with Tashe Dorje. From that day on, their relationship eventually became a visiting marriage. Throughout the process, the two of them maintained a reserved and subtle respect for one another.
他们都是从这个自己最真挚的情感出发，因为把自己的这个他所认识的异性作为一种神来对待，以他为唯一，他没有这个说朝三暮四的那感觉。
It was an unforgettable night for Ram. After the parents from both sides consented, Ram and Dorje entered their visiting marriage from that night on. In the beginning, the relationship went on in secrecy. Dorje would only come to Ram's bedroom in the dead of night. In order not to attract people's attention, he would not enter through the front door, but enter in a secret way and leave quietly before the break of dawn.
它还有一个就是说社区的舆论、社区的伦理，一个道德宽定他们。他们在走婚的时候，他绝对禁止、不允许跟第三者有来往。
The story of Drolma's mum embodies the unique visiting marriage customs passed down from generation to generation among the Mosuo people. Such customs help us form a more complete picture of the matriarchal social structure, to better understand the ancient kingdom of women during the Sui and Tang dynasties.
证明这段历史是真实的，就是我们讲的这个历史，人类社会进化历史，它就是个活生生的教材，活生生的样板。
When the ritual comes to an end, a grand follows. It's the most joyful time of the year for the Mosuo people. Marriage of women is particularly important for matrilineal families. Therefore, everyone in the family is focusing on Drolma, hoping that she can find her lover on this Mosuo version of Valentine's Day. Can Dolma fulfill her wishes? After the picnic, it's time for young men and women. Only on this day can the young people from different villages get together, dancing and showcasing their charm. The Mosuo boys are extremely excited and eager to release their fiery energy to try and attract girls' attention. Will Dolma find a suitable mate? There is still 1 hour to go before the celebration ends. Is Dolma going to meet someone she likes this evening? At this moment, a young man from the neighbouring village comes to talk with Dolma. Will they go steady? Can Dolma fulfill her family's wishes? Everything is up in the air. The celebration of the annual Mountain Worship Festival comes to an end. Tranquility returns once again to the lake. Partly thanks to the surrounding mountains, the matrilineal family structure here has been well preserved. It's a common wish among the older generation, and their future generations can carry on their marriage customs so as to ensure the enduring prosperity of their families.
他的家庭规模一般都比较大，都在这个十来个，而且家庭非常和睦，因为他是一个血亲，大家都是血亲在一起，非常和睦，而且齐心协力来经营这个家庭。
However, as Lugu Lake is receiving more and more attention from people who long to explore the kingdom of women, this once secluded region has become increasingly more connected with the outside world. Changes are gradually taking place amongst the younger generation.
不想走婚，我觉得2个人住在一起会比较幸福。我们自己建一个家庭。
We couldn't help but guess if the lost kingdom of women also underwent such radical changes that seem to be taking place around today's Lugu Lake. The reason for the disappearance of the kingdom of women remains a mystery, as no trace of it can be found in historical records dating after the Tang Dynasty. What on earth led to the kingdom's demise? Well, according to the book, it can be said that the kingdom had been in good relations and may have exchanged envoys with the Tang Empire. But after Emperor Li Jie ascended the throne, things began to change. A protracted war had completely shaken the foundation of the kingdom. In 670 AD, Tubo, the present-day Tibet, conquered 18 western states and allied with Khotan to conquer Kucha. A war between Tubo and Tang lasted for 3 centuries. Thus, peace along the southwestern border came to an end. Located between the 2 warring powers, the Kingdom of Women was thrown into the center of the conflict. Times of turbulence and confusion awaited it. One history book says that the Kingdom of Women was reduced to small war-torn tribes without fixed territorial boundaries, although it still claimed to be a kingdom. In 793 AD, in order to protect the kingdom territory, the Queen Regent decided to seek refuge with the powerful Tang Empire. Along with the heads of some neighboring vassal states, she traveled to the Tang capital to pay homage to the Dezong Emperor Li Shi, who in turn conferred upon her an imperial title.
这个很难，就是把它和这个内地的官制两个进行量化，那个类比，因为对于这个少数民族的这些首领的一些封的话，很多是礼仪性的、礼仪性的、名义性的。
Something else happened in the imperial palace. Although the Tang emperor promised to provide refuge for her kingdom, the queen was disgraced by an imperial decree that her successor shall be a male. Why did the emperor make such a ruthless decision? The reason for this might have something to do with the ups and downs of the Tang Dynasty. When Li Shi was young, the empire suffered a catastrophe known as the Dunhuang Rebellion. The displaced 14-year-old witnessed with his own eyes the end of the heydays of the once flourishing dynasty. After taking the helm, Li instituted many a reform in the hope of restoring past glory, but ended up failing. The frustrated emperor had thus developed an extremely contradictory personality. Perhaps it was such a personality that made Li determined to change this kingdom ruled by women. According to such speculation, the Kingdom of Women had to abide by the imperial edict and began to have male rulers. With the passage of time, the once unique kingdom gradually lost the influence of past female dominance. Yet there is another thought on the subject, that about 5,500 years ago, men became major creators and owners of social, relying on their physical strength. They passed on their waxing influence from generation to generation, which eventually resulted in a definitive change to their dominance of society. The foundation of matriarchy began to crumble.
战争和生产中，男人起了更重要的作用，那么他这个 所以在家庭的地位，它就会发生一些根本性的变化。
Since that time, matriarchy gradually faded out and was replaced by patriarchy. Therefore, the demise of the kingdom of women was inevitable from the perspective of human development. The lost kingdom of women left an indelible imprint on the history of southwestern China. Some of its traditions and its matriarchal social structure can still be found in practice around Lugu Lake. Such a unique culture is the precious legacy of that residing in an increasingly diversified world.